When V8 Supercars Australia started to beef up the series, it ran into a very big hurdle that was almost the size of a mountain. The new series managers had control of every aspect of the sport, except the very symbol of it. The Bathurst 1000 on the October long weekend remained the property of the Seven network and the ARDC. And Seven, while it lost the cars, was not ready to give up the venue. It set about finding a new series to fill the grid for its event, while Avesco set about finding a new date for its own Bathurst. The fans were faced with two 1,000-kilometre enduros, two different types of touring car, and the more popular of the two moving away from the traditional October long weekend, never to return. On the track, the Primus 1000 Classic, as it was then known, delivered an exceptional contest, boosted by Peter Brock's declaration that it would be his farewell race. A Brock pilgrimage began mid-season, and the followers swarmed to the mountain in unprecedented numbers. While a former teammate produced one of the event's most amazing stacks, and Brock was unable to deliver the coup de grace, Larry Perkins won for the 6th time, he and Russell Ingall setting a new standard for preparation and strategy. In 1998, two of our most talented young drivers at the time, Jason Bright and Stephen Richards, almost wrote off their car on Friday in a practice crash.
You don't know how my heart sunk when I crashed the car, and to win it after a crash like that, it's a fairy tale, it really is.
And from 15th on the grid took an EL Falcon to the highest honour a manufacturer can earn in this country. In spite of a couple of championship wins, it's hurt Ford not to have stood on top of this podium ever since. While Peter Brock wrestled with the notion of retirement, Dick Johnson's call was final, and he made that call in 1999. Paul Radisich almost gave Dick's team the perfect going-away gift, only to blow up in a winning position.
The car's been pushed all day. They've worked very hard, and the team has worked so hard to get them in that position.
Yep, it's all about horsepower. It was young talent time again as Stephen Richards and Greg Murphy took a Fred Gibson-prepared Commodore to victory.
Stephen Richards, Greg Murphy win the FAI 1000!
Bathurst was becoming a race for thoroughbreds in more ways than one. Garth Tander and Jason Bargwanna continued the youth policy in 2000 for Gary Rogers, the team's finest hour.
Holman conquer the mountain once again. Jason Bargwanna and Garth Tander take out the FAI 1000.
Bargwanna lucky enough to escape the memory of a terrible crash while warming up in the Holden Young Lions car a few years before. And for all their success elsewhere, neither he nor Tander has won since. Perkins and Ingall, threats as always, were in great shape again in 2001 before one of those strange Bathurst moments, and this time it swung against them.
Would you believe it? He inherited the lead, come into pit lane and had an accident.
Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst did, however, score one for the old boys. Scaife had not tasted victory since 1992, Longhurst since 1988. It was also the middle year of a ruthless treble for Scaife and the Holden Racing team. They carried their championship-winning form everywhere. And in 2002, another surreal performance to crown this rampage. The evergreen Jim Richards stepping into the co-driver's seat to help Scaife to another win. In 3 years, Scaife had won 3 series and 2 Bathurst 1000s.
And Mark Scaife will go back-to-back. At Bathurst, he secures another Australian touring car title.
It was the year of the plastic bag.
Oh, look at that smoke out the back, and that's the end of their campaign.
And the year of the plastic dunny. An emotional Greg Murphy penalised for a bizarre pit lane incident and then taking it out on a toilet.
Well, Murphy's out of the car, guys. He is fuming. He came down pit lane and he said, look, this is crazy business. Might as well put the car out the back. I think he's going to take use of the facilities here. But he is fired up.
Murphy, more than anyone, has seen the extremes of Mount Panorama, for in the next 2 years, he and Rick Kelly were on top of the podium. In 2003, the win followed one of the greatest moments in the race's 42 years, a moment that was not just about record-breaking achievement, but the respect that it brought from a pit lane that has been forged into a ferocious arena in very highly competitive, ruthless days.
And he is going straight to pole position for the Bob Jane Team Arts 1000. Murphy, a blistering lap.
Holy smokes! 6.68. That's
a record breaker.
That is insane.
Compare that feeling with the sympathy felt by even the hardest of racers when, in a practice session that year, Larry Perkins' reflexes told him he was no longer competitive.
I'm a bit rusty this year, and I'm feeling it a bit, and it's one of the factors in why I put it in the wall. I'll assess it and judge it on its merits in the next year.
Brock didn't feel like that. Nothing told him that he couldn't drive. He made a comeback as co-driver in 2003 with the team that bore his name. It didn't have the pace. He was still at it the following year on the invitation of the Holden Racing team. But then he didn't even get to drive when co-driver Jason Plato and John Cleland came together in one of those, well, Bathurst moments.
A car has rolled, and that is the Cleland-Jones Falcon. It's gone over on its head.
For Rick Kelly, winning twice had apparently come very easily, achieving that feat at 21. He'd contested only 3 championship series and started at Bathurst only 4 times. And last year, there was no chance of a triple for the dynamic double. They had changed teams and seats, leaving the way open for raging hot favourites Mark Scaife and Todd Kelly, who had one of those delirious days on the mountain for the Holden Racing team, days that are rare indeed. And that is what makes this event so great.